facing devastating hurricanes in the body of water we now know as the Gulf of Mexico. The Spanish explorers landed on western Florida, where Cabeza de Vaca and 400 Spanish expeditionaries got separated from the rest of their crew, and they were unable to find the ship that got them to Florida in the first place. The lost Spaniards didn't know exactly where they were. They believed they were close enough to the Panuco River in modern-day Mexico that they could make their way to a known Spanish settlement and be reunited with Spaniards. The lost men devised a plan to build rafts and float along the coastline until they reached the Panuco River, thus leading them to safety. But what the Spanish didn't realize is to reach the Panuco River, they would have to cross 1,000 miles of the Gulf of Mexico. 5 rafts were constructed using local materials in Florida, including timber and horsehide, and the Spaniards set off to drift in the Gulf of Mexico, hoping to reach a Spanish settlement. As the Spaniards drifted westward along the Gulf Coast, their attempts to make landfall for food and water were futile, as the densely populated natives along the Gulf Coast let the Spaniards know they were not welcome, even capturing and killing many of the Spaniards. While on or near Galveston Island, Cabeza de Vaca and the other men were surprised at how caring the local native population was to them, and for the first few days, as the Spaniards laid recovering on the beach, the natives brought them food and water. The natives called themselves Covoques, and many historians believe this was part of the Caracua population in Texas. After a few days, the Covoque had the Spaniards come to their camp, where they were able to communicate through crude sign language. While living with the Covoque, most of the Spaniards who had landed on the island died of disease or malnourishment, leaving but a handful of that original shipwrecked crew. After 2 years of miserable enslavement, Cabeza de Vaca worked his way up to become a healer and a trader. Cabeza de Vaca and Estevanico soon began to be sent on trading missions around modern-day Texas. Estevanico had a knack for language, and on these trading missions, he would be the official communicator, quickly picking up on the languages and dialects of the native tribes they were dealing with. Many of the native populations that the Spaniards came across believed that these strange men had magical powers. On these trade missions, the Spaniards became known as healers or medicine men, and their travels were greeted with respect and admiration from the indigenous communities around the Southwest.